Everybody, welcome to the Orange County Funding Corporation Board Meeting for May 14th, 2025. The time is 5:02 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could we have the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Jeff Christ.
Here.
Susan Walsky.
Here.
Mark Green.
Here.
Giovanni Palladino.
Here.
Dr. Vincent Odock.
Yeah.
We have 5 members here, 2 absences. We also have for staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Marty Barras remotely. We have our general counsel, Mr. Lino Sharetta and Rudy Zoda. We also have on our AV, Mr. Caden Jones and Billy Iverson handling our live stream. And we have a few guests, Mr. Brian Sandvidge, our monitor from Anshin, Connor Eckert, incoming president and CEO of the Orange County Partnership, and a few guests from also Lucas Arache, new member, new business attraction director for the partnership. And a few of our guests, the applicant from the Amazon Scannell, Matthew Boone, Glendolyn Thames, and their counsel, Mr. Robert Murray. Do I have everyone in the room? All right, that's everyone. Big crowd today.
Very good. I'll note we do have proof of notice. That's in our board packet for this meeting of the Orange County Funding Corp. And the minutes are up for consideration. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve or adjust the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Motion to accept, second by Dr. Odock. Thank you. Any other comments on those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Moving on to our reports. Finance Committee, please. Mark Green.
So very quickly, we didn't have enough for quorum, so for this, really, there's nothing much to talk about other than we got a refund from an over expense of insurance from last year. If you're looking at your April number, that's that $7,430.
We overpaid that last year, so it's coming back to us this year, so that's why it's from a prior year, which is why it's coded that way.
Okay.
And then the only other thing to talk about is that we did recover $50 in quote unquote debt from the
COVID Resiliency Loan Fund.
But we only get $37.50 of that. And so really there's not much else to talk about as far as that budget goes. Flipping the page real quickly, the page, I don't know what number it is for you all, but it's the CDs.
6.
So we do have a CD coming due a few days prior, but they're
Pardon me, not an OCFC, right?
in OCFC.
Oh, we do, but
Yes,
not an
it's-
IDA.
Correct.
Okay, sorry, got it back.
So-
I apologize.
So it's a little cattywampus. It matures on the 6/15, which is a Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we meet. But since it's a treasury bill, the way it's set up, there's some, whether or not, we only have 3 days before it automatically rolls over again. The kerfuffle is that on Thursday, it's Juneteenth, which is a federal holiday, so we're not sure how this is all gonna work out. But we just are going to assume we're gonna roll it over into a T-bill at that point for another 9 months so that we can keep our 3 months staggering. So we are going to have to make that approval since we didn't have a quorum in finance as far as I know.
I would make that motion
Right.
now.
But real quick before we
Okay.
go there, I just want to talk about our checking account. We have $318,000 in there. The reason it's so high is because we still have to pay for the generator for that we approved
Food bank.
for the food bank. So that's why there's $250,000 in there waiting for that expense to be paid. So if I can get a motion to approve rolling over the CD into the T, or not the CD, the T-bill in June, can, I guess.
I'll make that motion.
To another 9-month T-bill,
Yeah,
right?
to another 9-month T-bill.
I'll second your motion,
Thank you.
Chairman.
Any other comments, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that really is all that we have to talk about with that.
Could we cover the April, May payables quick, as well as the financials, while you're on the floor, Mark?
Okay, real quick, payables, we had 1,150 for Paris compliance. We had the normal 7,420. That is the charge to the IDA for payroll, rent, all the other things, which is right in line. And then there was just $350 for our normal monthly accounting services. And that is the normal payables, and then there's a full breakout of that 7420, which is again almost identical to last month.
Any questions, board members? We good?
Yep.
Would anyone care to make a motion to accept the financials and the payables?
I'll make the motion.
And that would be for April, May. Thank you, Giovanni. Second to that motion?
Make a second.
Susan, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And I believe that's all the business that needs to come before the OCFC.
Unless you want an audit committee report,
Is that OC?
we still have
Oh,
that.
you know what? I was looking at the, you're right about that. I was looking at the finance committee, agenda. Audit committee, please.
Just
Susan.
about
I'm trying to get my notes up because they weren't in my packet, I'm
RFP was
sorry.
mostly just the audit RFP that you requested, that would do it, and we'll consider staying with
Oh,
PKF.
yeah, yeah, we did go over, who we are using for the local labor. And we are gonna put out an RFP, although we're happy with the services currently being provided. We just wanna, keep our ducks in a row and make sure we're paying a fair expense on them. And that's really all the business we conduct.
And the same with PKF O'Connor Davies on the actual fiscal audit.
Physical audits, yeah, it's the same thing, we're very happy with PKF. We have no problem, we did request, they normally change our auditor every 5 years. We're gonna ask that the in-house auditor be changed every 3 years,
Mhm.
just to keep a fresh set of eyes on our numbers and everything. And again, we're probably gonna put out an RFP, just to make sure we're getting the best possible price out there.
And to reiterate, very, very happy with both. This is just a fiduciary responsibility to make sure.
And what would be the time frame that we're looking for that the RFP would cover? When would that decision be made?
When would we send it out? We
Well,
will-
but when would you expect it back? Is this for 2026?
It is for the audit of 2025.
Okay, which doesn't start till.
By this fall,
Fall,
we will
okay.
have that decision made, yeah, the
That
RFP out
helps.
and the
Thank you.
selection made.
We should take a motion for the audit committee since there was that decision about the RFP.
Correct.
So if anyone would care to make a motion to accept that report.
I will make a motion.
Mark Green, a second to that motion.
I'll second.
Giovanni, thank you. All in favor, please say
Aye.
aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you, Susan and Mark, for your reports. And I think that finishes our OCFC
That's it.
agenda. Therefore, please, if someone would make a motion to adjourn by Mark Green, second to that,
I'll
Second.
second, honorable member.
There you go.
Susan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. The meeting is adjourned at 5:10 PM. And I think we'll be able to roll right into our next meeting.
You okay, Katie? Can we?
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Orange County Industrial Development Agency meeting for May 14th, 2025. The time is 5:11 PM. I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome everybody here tonight. Bill, would you do roll call, please?
Sure, Jeffrey Christ,
Here.
Susan Walsky,
Here,
Mark Green,
Here.
Giovanni Palladino,
Here.
Dr. Vincent O'Donnell.
Yeah.
5 of 7 members with 2 excused absences. For staff, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, and Marty Barras. We also have on live stream, Caden Jones and Billy Iverson, and our state monitors here, Mr. Brian Savage, and we have a few guests, Connor Eckert and Lucas Arachi from the Orange County Partnership, Matthew Boone, Gwendolyn Thames, and Robert Murray representing Skinnell and Amazon, the applicant.
Excellent. And again, I would make note, this meeting was properly noticed. We have that documentation in our packet. And as is my prerogative as chair, I'm suggesting we adjust the agenda item for Skinnell Properties, number 600, and Amazon.com Services, LLC, to the next item we discussed tonight. Bill, would you introduce this item?
Sure. Excited to roll this out here. This is something we've been anticipating for a while. A mega project in the town of Wawayanda, a really transformational project. And we're excited to have him come before you. I think we're gonna start, Bob, will you be leading us? Or? Mr. Matthew Boone. Yes, please.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Matt Boone. I'm a developer with Skinnell Properties. Skinnell is the owner of the subject site at 22 McBride Road in the town of Wawayanda. The site is currently an active commercial sand and gravel mine that we plan on reclaiming and redeveloping with a state-of-the-art advanced multi-story e-commerce fulfillment center. The proposed building that is part of this development of the site is a 652,000 square foot footprint with 5 multi-stories at 600,000 square foot each, totaling 3.2 million square feet, where 1.2 million of that is occupied. So on the multi-story, the 600,000 square feet, most of that is for robotic sortation. The peak roof line of this building is 94 feet 5 inches. The peak of the stair towers is 103 feet 5 inches. It's kind of ideally located as far away from roadways and residents as possible. McBride Road and State Road 6, the building is 1,000 feet away from it, so it's kind of the best situation for something of this magnitude. We're currently going through entitlements with the town. We have a public hearing this evening with the planning board, and we anticipate getting a negative declaration on May the 28th. So I'll turn over the specific operations to the user.
Thanks, Matt. Good evening, Gwendolyn Thames. I lead Amazon's economic development and expansion efforts for the state of New York. And as Bill mentioned, with me, I have Bob Murray, who's our outside counsel on the project. Just to kind of, start off at the top, we have a long history and partnership here in Orange County. We have 2 facilities, one in the town of Montgomery, which is a sortation facility, and then we have our delivery station in the New Windsor.
Just down the street.
Right, exactly. I saw it on my way here. And so what we're proposing is an expansion of our logistics network in Orange County to an Amazon robotics fulfillment center, as Matt alluded to in his remarks. And so you can see some of the aerial renderings and then a more close-up rendering here specific to the building type. And so what we're proposing is a first mile facility. And so we have a last mile facility in Orange County in New Windsor. And then we have a middle mile facility, which is our sortation center in Montgomery, as I mentioned. And so here we're referencing a first mile fulfillment center. And so this is where essentially you would have a highly automated deep storage where packages are received, stored, picked, and packed. So if you're thinking about, that Giants hat that you are ordering off of Amazon.com, more than likely it's coming from a facility such as this, and then it works its way through our middle mile network into our last mile network, which ultimately gets to you as the customer where you see the vans. So the majority of the traffic here are line hauls coming in and out, bringing inventory in and out, and then personal vehicles from our employees, essentially. With that, many project benefits, as you can imagine, with a project of this size and scale, we are looking to bring at least 750 jobs with comprehensive benefits. Our jobs on day one receive those benefits, so the same benefits that I get as a corporate employees, our hourly associates get those as well. There's kind of a 90-10 split, so 90% of the jobs here that we're proposing would be hourly positions, and then 10% will be more salary positions where you would have, our area managers, our general manager, financial staff, IT support, mechanical engineers, or what have you that are working on the robotics and automation equipment, and HR professionals as well. Just to give you a flavor of that. So with that, a starting base wage of $18 per hour for our hourly associates, and we're looking at average $60,000 a year for our more salaried employees. In addition, one of the things that I want to point out with, in addition to the comprehensive medical, dental, paid family medical leave, we have educational benefit for our hourly associates that I really believe in, and has tremendous value. And so what that is part of our career choice program, where we pay prepaid tuition for our hourly associates to get foundational skills. So that can be a GED, ESL, so skills that are just going to help you do and perform your job better. Or you can pursue a 2-year, 4-year degree. We have partnerships with SUNY and CUNY, 18 of the colleges in that in the network, and more locally we have a partnership with Orange County Community College, and so locally our employees have access to prepaid college tuition to really pursue whatever their heart's desire as far as their career opportunities. You may have seen some commercials around career choice a few years back where we had associates that started off as an hourly associate. They used the career choice program to pursue their career in nursing, and they were able to move on. And so we're agnostic to whether you grow with Amazon, because there are tremendous opportunities, as you can imagine, but then also any in-demand jobs that are available in the private or public sector that an associate may want to pursue. We're invested in your career journey, and I think that is very unique to a company and our associates. And it's one of those things. I've been with Amazon going on 4 years in November, and coming here and learning about this benefit, and really anecdotally, just when I'm visiting the various facilities and talking to our associates, so many say, like, I came to Amazon because of this benefit. And we really meet people where they're at. So it could be that 18 to 28-year-old student who may not know what they want to do and may have taken a couple of community college classes, but are still figuring out, and say, hey, come to Amazon, we have a job for you, and also we are going to be invested in you and support you along your career journey. With that, I think, also increase tax base, so substantial increase in tax revenue for the county, state, and the local community, and the special services districts. Again, with the level of investment that we're putting into the project. Also, we are anticipating 300 plus construction jobs through the life of, or through the schedule of the construction. And then there's indirect employment. So you can imagine hundreds of seasonal, part-time jobs, as well as ancillary economic development and employment due to construction and our third-party service providers that we work with. Also, we demand a lot of services from a local procurement perspective, and so we utilize our HVAC professionals and trades to build the facility, but also there are ongoing needs and requirements for our buildings to maintain them, and so there are opportunities for local, small, medium-sized businesses to procure services and provide services for Amazon, and that's a huge benefit to the local community as well. So I will kind of end there with my kind of formal presentation and open it up for any questions that the board may have. Thank you for your time and consideration of the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that review. I might point out, we have an application that the board has received for this project. We have consideration of an inducement resolution to make a decision on tonight if the board so chooses. But first, I would ask the board if there's any questions for Gwendolyn at this point.
Yeah.
Doc?
Yeah, thank you very much for the information presented. I know Amazon is a large company. Can you continue with the project without any help from IDA? And another question, how much percentage of the local level will you be using?
So thank you for those two questions. So to answer your first question, as we've stated in our application, no, I would say. However, we are, this is a competitive process, right? So as we look to this site, we're looking at our neighboring states in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and so the prospective IDA benefits that are possible through this process really factor into leveling the economics of a project of this size to really work. And your second question was local labor. So in your application, we have made a request for a 70% local labor waiver. And that is due partly to, we've had experience now in New York with 3 projects of this size and scale. One in Onondaga County in Syracuse, which launched in 2022. And then we have Rock 1, which is in Rochester, that launched in 2023. And then we have, again, all similar projects. We have one under construction in Niagara. And so with those 3 projects, we received IDA benefits, and we also requested waivers because we, had real-time and historical data with respect to how those projects operate and the labor shortages that we experience, and we were able to hit the 70% mark, and so that is what we're projecting here. Again, recognizing historical, real-time examples and ongoing projects that are happening in the Orange County market, what we anticipate us to be able to utilize and be able to hit our schedule in time efficiently.
And we've had preliminary discussions with organized labor about this, and as have the applicant. So we're still working through that.
And we're fully committed to using local labor and working with the trades. They are our friends in this. We can't do it without them. So we look forward to partnering with them on this project.
Yeah, I've been in regular communications with Todd DiOrio, so we talk at least a couple times a week about this.
Would you review the time frame you're looking for approvals and construction in order to meet a opening date in a couple of years or so?
Yeah, so this is a 2027 launch, and so working backwards from there, we are really trying to move dirt and start construction in July. So we hope that you can kind of work with us on that schedule with respect to the next steps of the process. So I know we have to do a public hearing, and then, your consideration and getting to that point where we hopefully, fingers crossed, get to a final approval. While simultaneously, as Matt mentioned, we're working through the remaining local entitlements, so we hope to get the neg deck on May 28th, because we know the IDA can't act until then. But again, our goal is to hopefully have, our approvals wrapped up in June, so we can start again, moving dirt in July.
Yeah, just one thing, just to echo what you said, the board can act tonight on inducement, but with respect to the final authorizing after the public hearing, you really can't take any action until they have a neg deck on the project, so.
Yep.
But as far as inducement, no, but in terms of final authorization, when they have to come back here, they need the neg deck,
Yes.
so, in order to do that. So
Yep.
that's the only thing from our standpoint that would be holding us up, so we
Mm-hmm.
wanna make sure that we get that negative declaration in, for the project, so hopefully Way Hondo will do that shortly. But once we get that, then we can act, after the public hearing, when they come back for final authorization.
So this inducement is really just gonna move us forward to the public hearing?
Correct, that's what it's gonna do.
And would you, review that inducement for us just briefly?
Sure.
Lena?
Sure, this is what you have before you is, again, it's, because it's a joint application with Scannell and Amazon, again, the total, in terms of the total construction project cost, it's in the resolution, it's $457 million. The resolution lays it out for you and breaks down the costs with Scannell and also Amazon. Again, just to give you just real high level, with respect to the project, the company desires financial assistance from the IDA in the form of exemptions up to $18,821,250 for state and local sales tax, and also in the amount of $225 million with respect to pilot payments and that affect the taxing jurisdictions. So in total, again, just to break it down, because again, you have it's one application, but two applicants, right? So just to break it down for you, with respect to the Scannell portion of it, it's exemptions of $18,821,250, and the Amazon piece is $225 million, which total, if my math serves me correct, 607. Is that the
607 is the total.
project cost? Correct. All right, so that's what you're voting on this evening.
And I just want to clarify that the original resolution that was drafted was in your board packet, but right in front of you there was some revisions just to some of the figures, so the red line version is in front of you.
Yeah, and just to explain that, the revision there is because it's a joint application, so all the applicants did was really, allocate the costs associated with Scannell and the costs associated with Amazon. Again, it's still one project number, but again, we just, attribute the cost to Scannell and one to Amazon.
And how's this fit into?
We asked for a revision to page 15 and 16 of the application, really just because we had inquired whether or not there were any soft costs associated with the construction of this, engineering, legal, et cetera. And they did add those for engineering and architecture, $6 million, and legal fees of $1 million. So the capital expenditure total goes from $600 million to $607 because of that addition.
Thank you. Questions on the inducement resolution?
Well, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's all gonna hinge on them getting secret anyway and seeing how the public responds to the public hearing. We're here to serve the public, we need their feedback. Me personally, I think this is a great project. I do know Amazon, in my area of the county, which is right over here by New Windsor. It's a great labor source for people who need an additional income for two-family, households, and because the scheduling is so flexible, I do like my 4 a.m. deliveries, I don't care what anybody else says. Because it's allowing people who have other jobs to now create a second job for income, which to live in this county is not cheap.
Thank you. Mark?
A couple of quick questions, just one comment. I actually met with your CFO in the mid to late 90s when you guys were selling books. You all had a campus on an old hospital outside of Seattle. So just a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
When it comes to you said a big portion of this is gonna be robotics. When it comes, you want to lower to 70% threshold as far as local employment, right? And I can understand.
Local labor for construction.
Yes, local labor for construction. Is that factoring in, I'm assuming you're going to need special construction, specialized individuals for that robotics part of the process?
Yes.
Is that factoring into that 70%, or is your expectation that you're gonna come back asking for variances or some sort when it comes to that side of building this out?
Just on that, before you answer that, just with respect to the waiver issue, so tonight, just so you know, they have to come back for the 70% request to this board. and that's a formal, another application in terms of that they have to submit. That's not on the table for tonight, just so you know, but they have to come back for that request with respect to the waiver of the labor policy, but.
So can we get the discussion going now or
Yeah,
not?
no, you can't, I'm just saying, you're not, that's not what's being voted on tonight, that's all.
And I want to be clear that the lowering the threshold is to bypass the waiver process, because we're
Right.
talking scores of waiver requests otherwise.
I
We're on that
understand
committee.
that, that's what I'm
So
saying.
the idea is bringing the threshold down so that we don't have to go through that process and we can continue to move the project
And
along.
that's my question.
Okay.
If we lower it, are we going to then again go through that process, or is that part of what we're talking about?
D,
Yeah, Bob.
sorry about
No, the whole point is, with a lot of experience, is to set this threshold, which includes the material handling specialists and any specialty trades that are, there isn't any local certification or warranties if we don't use the correct installers. We're done, the 7% should cover it, and that is experience and learned through a lot of tough lessons, putting the board through multiple waivers and things like that, so we're really hopeful. And if I may, Leo and Bill, Mr. Chairman, we had built into the request, this is, as part of the overall approval, was a 70% labor reduction, so our hope is, and hope make your life easier too, is hopefully we get induced in June, and that includes the board making the determination of the 70% threshold. We don't wanna have to get induced and then have to come back in July and have another debate about 7%. I mean, we're full transparency here.
Yeah, you're being, like I said, the on the table tonight is the inducement, and then obviously between now and authorization, we would have, that discussion, just to make sure. But yes, it is, but you did mention it, you're up front with it, it's already there, but I'm saying tonight is just the inducement,
Absolutely.
because they can't do anything else other than that until you get your
Totally
statement
understood,
done, that's all.
yes.
And Bob, maybe just for the record, state your full name.
Yeah, Robert Murray,
Thank you.
with air speech.
we can call me Bob.
Okay, I got it, I did.
So just to be absolutely clear, what I heard is correct, that 70% when you come back and ask for it, is including in your expectation that this is going to cover any potential need to come back for variances in the future. That you've accounted for your specialty people that you're gonna have to bring in to do the robotics. I get it, I understand about warranties, I understand about all of that. But I hope you can understand my concern that I don't want to commit to doing that, and then 6 months later, a year later, onesie-twosying these little things that keep coming up because we're now at 60% of local labor. You understand what I'm trying to say here?
Absolutely, and that's our goal too. We do not want to proceed with onesies and twosies, and I don't speak for Lindland, but this isn't just a number thrown at the wall. This is a number that we feel comfortable.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I mean, anything's possible, right? So I don't wanna be black and white, right? Because we don't know, there's so many other factors and environmental factors that can continue to happen throughout this process. So I don't wanna say, oh no, we won't come back, because we just don't know. But we know from historical and real-time data based off of other projects that we've done in the state, this is where we've been at. Is this it? And will we, I can't say that, right?
I'm not asking you for that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, did you factor in, to the best of your abilities, the specialty people you're gonna have to hire from outside our community to do this? And by doing that number, you came up with 70%. That's what I'm asking. I understand that, I've run businesses, I understand that there are things that occur, but I'm asking, did you at least factor that into your 70% number? That's all I ask. Okay.
Giovanni, you have anything?
Just an observation, I'm glad to see architects and engineers are making more than attorneys.
That's usually the case, but.
I don't think so, not the job I've ever worked
On the
on.
land use side, for sure.
I think for this whole labor thing, it would be beneficial next time just to get an understanding of what that 30% might be as far as trades. Is it robotics, is it masonry, what is it exactly? I think that would help us understand that better. I don't think it's a critical thing, but it would be I think it would give us some confidence, right? You would give some confidence if it's a specialty. Because I know there are some trades that aren't really around anymore. I think masonry might be a problem. But it would be interesting to see what that breakdown was and how you assess that 30%.
And I would also make the comment, some of the specialty companies that you may be looking for may be outside of the trades or the unions. Our policy is that it has to be local labor, not necessarily the unionized laborers.
And I know this has to get, as Lino mentioned, referred to the audit committee, so happy to come and kind of, deeper dive it as well with yourself and others as part of that committee in this process.
Just right here, right now, you gave the answer I need to hear.
Would anyone care to make a motion concerning the inducement resolution?
I'll make the motion.
A motion to approve the inducement resolution before us. Second by Mark Green, thank you. Any other discussion or questions? We'll be doing a roll call vote. Would you carry that roll call vote?
Sure. Jeffrey Christ,
In favor?
Susan Walsky,
Yay.
Mark Green,
Yes.
Giovanni Palladino,
Yes.
Dr. Vincent Oda.
Yes.
We have
5 ayes.
5 in favor, nobody against, and 2 absences. And that motion is carried.
Next up, we'll be scheduling the public hearing. We'll work with you on a date that works, okay? Make sure that it works for everyone involved. Back in touch.
And then Bob, in terms
Look to
of,
do that early June.
in terms of Mark's comment on the labor, we can work, we obviously call my office, we can discuss how the labor comes in, and then we'll get you before this board again on that topic.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
If I could, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just before everyone leaves, I just want to take a moment to recognize Mr. Conorecker. Maureen Hallahan, after several years, she's a living legend, she's retiring. Big shoes to fill, but Connor has impressed everyone in our economic development world. They're really excited he's going to be taking over. For sure, congratulations.
Congratulations, Tom.
Congratulations.
It's a good start with this one, right?
Yeah.
Not too bad.
There's only one way to go, Connor.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with.
You did. I didn't say it for this guy. Oh, thanks, everybody.
Security measures with Martin Wire Group, and you have someone to introduce here?
I do, yes. Really excited to introduce Mr. Micah Martin. Hello, Micah. Micah is
Welcome.
He is the founder and president of Martin Wire Group, which is our new IT group. Well, it's been several months now at this point. He's put out a lot of fires, done great desktop support, helped us with absolutely everything. His responsiveness is really second to none. But we also really asked him to take on a project to assess our network vulnerabilities, so to speak, with our local network here and such. And Micah did that, and he identified some risks, and we did some mitigation, and I just wanted him to kind of share with everyone what the analysis was and what steps were taken. All right?
Thank you guys, I
Got
appreciate
your
it.
clicker right here.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
This means I can't hack into the system anymore.
Enough of that.
So, like Will said, good evening, everybody. Thank you. My name is Michael Martin, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a presentation on the security controls assessment that we conducted in early 2025. But first, just an introduction to me and the Martin Wire Group. I'm originally from New York City. I was born and raised there. I moved up here about 2 years ago. I worked in the field for about 10 years for multiple different managed service providers and different organizations. I completed my education at the New York Institute of Technology, studying computer networks and cybersecurity. And a fun fact, as I contributed to the world's first critical infrastructure security operations center, which was 24/7, and we secured essentially oil rigs, critical infrastructure, so oil rigs, water treatment centers, and power generation plants. So it was a really big project, and I was excited to be a part of it. And actually, that was the first one in the United States market that we worked on. So the Martin Wire Group, so we unofficially started back in 2019. We established ourselves in Orange County, New York in 2024. We provide IT and cybersecurity advisory services for small and medium businesses. And we work with nonprofits, law firms, and architecture firms, and many other different types of firms. So we're here to talk about a security controls assessment, but let's start off with what exactly a security control is, right? A security control is a safeguard or a countermeasure which is designed to protect information systems and reduce our risk, right? So the purpose of the security control assessment was to evaluate our existing tech infrastructure, understand the security controls that we have in place, and then review best practices, and we'll talk a little bit more about those best practices in a later slide, but then present those findings to the Orange County IDA. And our goal was to recommend enhancements to further mature the Orange County IDA's security capabilities and posture. So how we break it down is we break it down to several security control domains. You can think of a domain as a section, and I'll go through some of them. We have boundary protection, which essentially safeguards the boundary or our network, also known as a firewall. We have endpoint protection platform, which is essentially known as antivirus. Antivirus has become more of a feature than a complete solution, but that is what endpoint protection is. Security monitoring, I tie that in with endpoint because oftentimes what happens is you'll implement a endpoint protection platform or a firewall and nobody's looking at it. So nobody knows what's happening, it's just there, right? We also have backup and recovery, pretty straightforward. You know, do we have backups to recover in the event of an emergency? Identity access management, are the employees using all the same account to work, or do we have separate accounts for each individual identity? Multi-factor, which I'm sure everybody here is now aware of. You guys either love it or hate it. Multiple ways of identifying yourself with what you know, which is the password, what you have, a 6-digit code that we text to your phone, or what you are, a fingerprint or a facial recognition. We also have vulnerability management. So essentially what that is, it's basically knowing what's on your network, right? Knowing the vulnerabilities associated on your network. We don't have servers, but we do have things like, we have a printer, we have a firewall, switches, and most people think it's not a big deal, but these are exactly what people or threat actors use to get onto the network and carry out their attacks. Data loss prevention, this is essentially making sure that sensitive data like credit card information, social security numbers aren't leaked. And then we have awareness and training, which also is commonly overlooked, but you have to understand that 99% of the attacks that I've seen in the industry for large companies and small companies are due to user error, right? Users not knowing or not being aware of the issues that, or not being aware of cybersecurity at all, essentially. So how did we conduct the security controls assessment? So we follow best practices provided by the United States government. It's also known as the NIST cybersecurity framework, right? And so really cybersecurity practitioners and companies, large and small, all over the world use this framework. So it's a good source of truth as to what a good cybersecurity framework looks like. So we basically broke this down to 3 distinct phases, right? A high-level business impact assessment where we understood the technologies required for operations. And then we reviewed the security controls that were currently in place for those applications or services, right? And the last step of the assessment is essentially, okay, we have the network, we have the systems involved, and we have the security controls that we currently have. Now we're going to reference best practices and see where at that point you have to draw the lines and figure out where we're not meeting those best practices. So we did have positive findings, and I was happy to see this for a smaller business. We do have a firewall. We have a TP-Link firewall with all the right features enabled. Backup and recovery, we do not have any on-prem servers, right? So all of our critical infrastructure as far as for operations, it's all in the cloud, right? So the cloud is naturally redundant, so that we are no longer liable for that. They are backing up our stuff probably 1 million times over. So that is something that we were pretty much in the green for. Identity access management, we don't have multiple people using one account to work, right? So everybody has their own separate account and their own identity. So some areas of improvement that we found is at the time of the assessment, we did not have a standardized endpoint protection platform that the users were utilizing. MFA was not enabled at every application that we utilize. Awareness and training, there wasn't an established awareness and training program for the users, and like I said, that's important because users are usually the cause of breaches. And we have security monitoring. The existing security controls that we had, nobody's looking at that, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then vulnerability management, we didn't have a kind of an asset list that told us, okay, this is what we have on the network, these are the vulnerabilities associated, and this is how we should go about remediating. So I'm going to ask you guys a question here. Does anybody here know anybody from the Orange County IDA that works in Pakistan?
What?
Does anybody here know anybody that works for the Orange County IDA that works in Pakistan?
Only on Fridays.
Yeah, just on Friday.
Where's Marty? She's always dialing in, so she's there.
She's out of Pakistan. Go ahead.
Punjab, Pakistan, I think is the exact location. So this carries us into my next part of this section, my next slide. Why does this matter? Why should we care, right? It's commonly thought that small and medium businesses don't have to worry about cybersecurity, and that is like farthest from the truth, right? So online, you have to understand that there's many organizations around the world, right? Amazon, let's say you have Amazon and you have another organization. Amazon is top tier. They're using every single type of security control or type of security protection that they can, right? Whereas small and medium businesses, what's happening is they're not investing in cybersecurity, not even in a little bit, right? So what's happening is you can go for the larger companies as a threat actor, but smaller businesses generate income. Smaller businesses and medium businesses are still a target, right? And so why would you go for Amazon when you can just target small and medium businesses? It's way easier. And so the logs that I just showed you before of the logins from Punjab, Pakistan, that is from our GoDaddy, right? So GoDaddy, I'm not sure if anybody's heard of it, it's basically where our domain is hosted, OCNYIDA.com, and it's critical, right? Because our traffic is routed through there, our website traffic is routed through there, and our emails are routed through there. And there's a ton of implications or possible implications. I'll read you guys some, and then I'll tell you guys what I think happened. So with this access that this threat actor had, they could have performed website defacement, right? They could have really went on there and put anything on the website. Email hijacking, right? So they could have hijacked our emails, which would have led to data breach, right? Our emails have sensitive, important information in them. What scares me the most for a lot of small, medium businesses is malware distribution, right? Usually what happens is these smaller businesses or these smaller, medium domains are used to get into larger organizations. Amazon was just in here, right? They'll use us to get into Amazon. And what happens with that is, and they can do that in multiple different ways, and that's a serious possibility. We also have traffic redirection, and the most important one is loss of control. If we lose our GoDaddy account, it might seem simple, like, hey, we own the account, we'll just call back. It's long, and it's costly, and it's very annoying to get back a GoDaddy account. So here are just some areas of consideration, right? So we have emails. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. What I think happened here with this cyber incident, so this attack occurred over about 4 years. So somebody was logging into our GoDaddy instance for 4 years and repeatedly, right? So we only have but so much logs that I can fit into the slide here. But what I think happened because of the continuous logins is I think that they put our credentials on the dark web and they just wanted to make sure that was still valid, so they kept logging in. Since then, we've implemented MFA and I've changed the passwords and the whole account the setup is just different now. So since then, we've not experienced any more logins from Pakistan. So some areas of consideration, right, if it becomes an issue or if something that you guys should consider. Email security, if spam becomes an issue where you guys are receiving spam out the wazoo and you guys need a solution to lessen that spam, email security, an email security appliance is a good solution. We have email encryption, right? We send important, critical information, sensitive information. You might want to use an email encryption software. And ITDR is identity threat detection and response. Essentially what this is this would have caught that login from Punjab, Pakistan, right? So if you work in New York every day and one day you're in Afghanistan or China, it flags it and it doesn't allow that to go through. So that's a solution that we can also consider. So just to recap, we spoke about what security controls were. We talked about different security controls domains. I gave you guys my methodology. We spoke about positive findings, areas for improvement, and then why it's important and why it's relevant for even small and medium businesses. And then we spoke about some future areas of consideration. And with that, I'd just like to thank everybody for your time. And if you guys have any questions, now's a good time.
Thank you, Micah.
Questions? Have you completed your review then?
Yes, I have completed my review. Yes.
Okay. And are there things we're gonna need to follow up with them on, or?
We've already subscribed to certain things.
Okay,
Getting
good.
things on,
That's
so
helpful.
we're in place. Yep.
And Brian, I don't know if you would have any thought, I think the ancient recommendations have included some aspect of security and fraud protection. It seems like this would go a long ways towards satisfying that concern.
Yes. We'll tie that into the recommendations we made, what you've implemented here.
Excellent. We good?
Is that over everyone's head, or are we?
No, I mean, I'm more than willing to go to Pakistan on the IDA's dime and try and find out who was hacking into it. So if you'd like to send me, you know, I'm a willing subject.
I would not.
We might not bring you back, I don't know.
Giovanni? Is there gonna be any change in the way we're getting email now? 'Cause
No.
our email is basically done through the cloud, right?
Yes,
Yeah, we did a migration a couple months back, but that's.
it was seamless to you, but yeah.
Yes.
Does this, go ahead, I'm sorry, Doctor, go ahead.
Are you aware of what happened to Mount St. Mary's College a few years ago?
Not a few years ago, but I am aware of the
Yeah.
heightened activity in the Hudson Valley of cybersecurity. Even yesterday, honestly.
Oh,
So yeah, it's a lot of stuff going. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's scary. But people are starting to wake up and invest in it, right? And I always tell people it doesn't have to be with us, but just look into it, right? Look into these things because these are real threats, right? We were at a Townsend Villages event the other day, and they were talking about a water treatment center that they're placing in Orange County, and I think the budget was like 100-something million, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what part of that, or if any part of that, takes into consideration cybersecurity, right? Because 100 million is a lot, 126 million is a lot of money, right? And it's even more money when you build it and it doesn't work because of the cybersecurity incident. And a lot of these things are, like I said, it really just takes the effort of looking into it and validating, using best practices that provided by the United States government. So like we have a playbook as to what you're supposed to do, and it's usually not followed for some reason.
I think most of you know I'm a trustee for Mount St. Mary College, and so I was, went through that. It was absolutely devastating for the college.
Yeah.
They had to rebuild their systems. There was what do you call it?
Ransomware?
Ransom, exactly.
Yeah.
And they lost almost an entire pool of applicants for 1 year, so they
Ooh.
really dropped their enrollment as a result.
The town of Blooming Grove was offline for almost a week.
Yep. Yeah.
What are we, is this now a continual monitoring, or is this a, every 6 months we do a diagnostic? What's the procedure here?
So as of right now, what I'm doing is I'm just keeping in contact with Bill and team to make sure that this is a living document, right? So anytime there's changes, let's say you guys are adding a new application, right? We just need to make sure that we're implementing the best security practices along with that application. So I wouldn't say it's a recurring thing. I was really excited about implementing the SOC EDR for the IDA. Essentially what that is a security operations center agent that goes on the computers, and we have agents or analysts that are monitoring security events on their machines 24/7. And what that does is in the event that there is a breach or an incident, they will pick up on it and they call me at like 2 a.m. in the morning and I have to respond. So I have to blow up people's phones.
In layman's terms,
Mm-hmm.
you're saying that the next time someone from Pakistan tries to log on, that would raise a flag and you would be made aware of that immediately. Is that what you're saying?
So that is a different solution. We did not implement that solution, but we did put in controls to make sure that that can't happen, right? If they get my password, they need more than just my password to log onto the account, right? So that would be the ITDR solution, the Identity Threat Detection Response. So it's a different solution, and I'm not sure that we want to use that right now. I feel like we have a good amount of security controls in place for the applications that we're using now. So.
And I'll just add that Micah found other efficiencies, other things we could cut out and everything. So him implementing these things really has barely increased our monthly IT costs at all.
Nice.
So a lot of things he did were low or no cost, actually.
And that's the reason why I started the company, because I was working with other companies. I realized that cybersecurity it's very costly, right? But if you're approaching it from a certain angle, some people you overcompensate for what you need, right? And so, yeah, overinsured, exactly. And so that's part of the reason why I started up, because cybersecurity really doesn't have to be expensive. You just have to know your environment, know your business, know your business impact, and know the IT systems that you guys are relying on, and protect those, and then also educate the staff so they know, what is malicious in the cybersecurity environment. And I think Kelly messaged me, was that you messaged me? Yeah, like she messaged me the other day about a text, right? Like some people wouldn't even think to do that. Some people just click onto the text and then before you know it, all their stuff is gone. So, and it's a real threat. Like it's not like, happens every now and then. This is happening every day. Even it's scary how much is happening here at home, so.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Nice work.
like business cards?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I'm gonna grab one right now. I'm grabbing one right now.
They're right in my office.
Oh, they're right
on
in
my
your-
desk.
okay.
Going on the left, they're sitting on,
Okay, all right, thank you.
they're black, Kelly, if you see them, on my little tray thing.
He's
Black.
got their own office.
Oh, that's right, he's in the wrong office. I moved
Oh,
offices,
you
Mike.
said-
Sorry.
That's to keep the hackers confused.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Everybody wants. Bill has.
I would take one, please.
He's still trying to, get rooted in his business, so if
Yeah.
anyone needs help, I can't recommend
We've
it enough.
updated the logo since, so we went through a rebranding, but it's all the same content
Yeah.
information. So, thank you so
Micah,
much.
thanks so
everybody.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you think about catching the GTI local labeler penalty before we move into the internal stuff?
Sure, this is something that we dealt with in the audit committee. Green Thumb Industries, also known as Fiorello Pharmaceutical, it's the cannabis manufacturer, 400,000 square foot facility, enormous facility in Warwick, in the Warwick Tech Park. They closed their project, the local labor monitoring is done. Overall for the project, they had 93% local labor on site. However, you recall, until we recently changed or amended our local labor policy, you had to achieve 85% on every single subcontract. So out of 18 subcontracts, 4 were not compliant. They were below the 85%. Again, overall, the effort was there. They had MWB and some other thresholds they had to meet, so that was a challenge. However, we are penalizing them $2,500 for each of the 4 contracts that were out of commission, so $10,000 total. They are aware of it. Audit committee approved it. We're looking for the board's approval to do the same. If we don't hold them to the policies and such, we don't have a leg to stand on, in my opinion.
Questions on that? It was in Bill's monthly report as well. Anybody care to make a motion?
I will.
Motion by Mark Green, second to that motion. Susan, thank you, and that would be to approve that penalty that Bill just described. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And now maybe we'll move back to the top of the page, if you're not busy. Approval of the minutes from the April 16th board meeting.
I'll make that motion, Chairman.
Motion to approve, second. Mark, thank you. Any additions, corrections, comments on those? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And my chairman's report can be fairly brief. Some of this stuff is noted in Bill's report as well. But in addition, on the brownfields, I think we have a meeting scheduled for the end of the month now.
We do.
With the task force.
Yep.
And RF attended a brownfields event. You went too.
I did too, yeah.
But he did
He kept better notes.
follow-up, and we just got his notes today,
Yep.
or yesterday, so that was good to see. I think there's a lot of neat things related to the brownfields that we can do for the good of the community. The website enhancements, certainly, I explored a couple things with Marty and found some things that could be tweaked a little bit. But if anybody sees anything further on the website enhancements, be sure and speak up. Thank you for your help on that, Marty.
And I've taken your feedback, Susan, thank you.
And lastly, I thought it would be neat to consider holding either our July or August board meeting at the new food bank facility. I mentioned last month, but they have a very nice conference room. Billy would check out the live stream from there. We would have to make notice of our change in location. I do know the food bank facility is available for the dates of those 2 meetings. Any comments, Lino? Is that?
As long as they can, you notice it,
Yeah.
and we can, facilitate the live stream, you're fine.
It's a similar sized conference room to this boardroom as far as having some guests. If there's gonna be 100 people there, we'll have to have it in a different spot, but any comments on that?
I'm hoping it's August, because I don't believe I'll be here for the July meeting.
Oh, okay. And,
I'm for it as long as you guys fulfill your promise and get one meeting in Port Jervis in the next 18 months.
oh, okay, yeah, we better.
Because you promised for the last 2 years and you haven't done it.
You haven't requested
And
your
it-
date yet.
But where are we gonna have it?
We'll have it in my
Town-
house, I don't care, we'll have it somewhere.
Town hall?
But we're gonna get you all over the mountain to the western part of the county.
Okay. Good thing we have GPS. Sounds like that's a go, and we can explore it, and,
Otisville still has the Grange Hall, don't
certainly, does that require a board decision, or management can just send notice with,
Yeah, as long, I mean, as long as you're in
consensus?
agreement to, I would just make a motion to, have to schedule the meeting, the next available meeting at the food bank.
Okay,
So-
tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it to be determined by Bill and you.
Yeah.
As long as you're authorized, I would take the authorization.
I would say, word the motion, either the July board meeting or the August.
Subject to all applicable noticing requirements that
Yes.
need to be happening, that's all.
Anybody good with that motion?
Yes.
By Mark, second to that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Giovanni. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. That completes my report, and we'll move on to CEO report. Please,
Sure,
Bill.
just a couple things. As Jeff mentioned, I went to the Brownfields Conference, kind of all part of the CPA grant process. We will have at least one person go to the national conference actually in Chicago this year. So Jeff mentioned RF Khan, he's actually kind of our project manager for this. He's kind of my liaison, so I can stay 30,000 feet. He's done a great job so far, he's excellent. We'll also be attending the New York State EDC Conference, their annual meeting that's always in middle of May out in Cooperstown. I'm going, Jeff is going, Lito and Rudy will both be there, Connor will be there, Steve Gross, our Director of Economic Development, so Orange County will be very well represented at that. And lastly, I mentioned the Connor thing, only thing other than that is the headquarters here, everything was repainted. Brand new carpet you're seeing here. We got a few other things. The carpet in the front is gonna be changed out for some vinyl flooring. A few other things we're just trying to tweak, but really excited to. And the name of the paint is Clean Slate, which is one of the things I was really seeking for here. So with a complete clean slate, everything's different here now, so it's our home.
Questions for Bill on his report?
I see some punch list stuff.
Yeah, okay, yeah, me too, so believe me.
I was curious, any highlights on the Council of Industry annual breakfast?
That was great. That's they are kind of an association for manufacturers in the area. So they recognize, first of all, they have a lot of schools there and programs like BOCES where students are being brought into the manufacturing field. So that's always a nice little expo they do before the actual breakfast starts. And then they honor some folks that are great, partners in this field. So they're important partners of ours, really appreciate them. They are experts in workforce development, so we're really trying to go to them when there are issues around that. But yeah, another vital organization for us to kind of stay in tune with.
Very good, thanks for covering all those bases, Bill. Next up, Finance Committee, please, Mark.
All right, I don't have to talk nearly as fast. I'm feeling the pressure of trying to get done. There's a few things. So again, we did not have quorum in the finance, so you all, I'll be a little more in depth as you all have to vote to approve some things. If you turn to page 14 in your packets, there are a few things I just want to highlight. Number one, if you look at the shaded area, those are your April numbers on page 14. First off, congratulations, we got an application from Banta. So $5,000, however, $2,500 of that is a pass-through, so you'll see that a little bit lower, but great things, so good for that. The management fee income, that is just the transfer over from, or no, I'm sorry,
That's the 16%, dude.
the 16%, yes, the 16% from the FC. And then some nominal interest earnings. And then if you go down a little bit further, you'll see, and I'm just kind of highlighting the bigger differences. You'll see professional fees, $4,087.50. Part of that is the continued quality of life payment that we approved. Right now, we're about $4,000 in to a $20,000 drawdown. So this will be going on for probably the rest of the year. If you go down a little bit further, down to legal counsel, you'll see 2,243 again. Those legal fees are rather standard, but you'll also see the $2,500 pass-through from the what I mentioned above. We did have a little bit of a conundrum here. If you look at local labor auditing fee expense, you know, we did move over to, what is the system?
Escrow?
No.
Ramp.
What'd you say?
Ramp.
Ramp. So we did have a little bit there, so we're cleaning that up. But of that $6,112, $3,864 is the Legoland, and that is the grandfathered in way that we do it, that we're continuing to pay that off. Unfortunately, that should have been a separate line item, so we had, the rest of the money was for some of the labor for the Royal Wine, and so we're fixing that, but just wanted to make sure that you all saw that and know that we are addressing that and fixing that. So at the end, you know, we you know, on paper, you know, it looks like we lost just under $53,000. So any specific questions about that I can answer? If not, then can we move to your page 15? So this isn't nearly as complicated as FC was. We have a CD coming due on 6/23, which is after our June meeting. So we'll be able to go through our normal procedure there, which is the bottom one, which comes due 6/23/25. So there really isn't anything to talk about in the IDA meeting because the dates are different. So, unless you want to talk, but I don't think you have to. And then real quick, you know, just pointing out that we have $314,000 in our checking account, and we have that high number as a reserve if we have to start contributing to the watershed study that we approved 4 or 5 months ago, which nothing has come yet, but we have to keep, you know, a pad in there for that. Any questions so far about that?
No, I'm good.
All right, and then finally, the next page is really just the transactions of the vendors. You know, probably the one that sticks out is about halfway down your page for $3,375. That's from Harris Beach. That was for the Paris compliance, so that won't be recurring. The rest, you know, rent and such is fairly in line with you know, what we've done. And then the very bottom, 2 up from the bottom, $1,411. That's legal services for the GTI.
Conflict counsel.
Yeah, Sarah Stein, that's the council, conflict counsel we use for the GTI solar easement issue.
Yeah. Any questions about anything financial? So, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mark. I might just shift down the page a moment to accept the April 2025 financials as well as the approval of the April-May payables. If anyone would care to make that motion.
Make the motion,
By
Chairman.
Susan,
I'll second.
second by Giovanni. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And back up to audit committee, please, Susan.
Well, we already went over that the audit committee reviewed the GTI local labor penalty.
Mhm.
We accomplished that as this board approved tonight, the recommendation. Again, in the audit committee, we have, are asking for an RFP for both our local labor monitor as well as our accounting firm. And it's not that we are dissatisfied with the services, it's the opposite. We are highly satisfied with the services we are receiving. However, we also have the obligation to make sure we're paying the best price possible. The other recommendation is that we did make to PKF O'Connor's that we would like the auditor that they send here to be changed every 3 years instead of every 5 years, so we do have fresh eyes on our financials.
Questions on that report? And since that had a decision in it, we need a separate motion
Correct.
for the RFP, local labor and accounting firm that Susan just described. If anyone would care to make that motion.
make the motion.
Thank you, Mark. Second to that motion.
I'll second that.
Susan, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you both for your reports. And did I miss anything on the agenda for tonight with IDA?
I think you got it all.
Thank you all for being here. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Giovanni, second by Mark.
Take the easy ones.
And before I take the vote, thank you staff for all you've been doing. Good meeting. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.